Knock, knock, who's there? Why, it's another edition of the Rave Corner podcast. Woo! Yeah!
Woo!
Good one, Daniel. We'll work on that later. We are your hosts of this program. I am the adorable Asian, Aaron, but you can call me AT503, but honestly I prefer Aaron a lot better. And my partner here is the cool, the calm, the collective, the most awesome office worker you can ever meet at work. We're talking about the chosen one, Daniel. Or you can call him Wimplo86. How you doing, man?
Or it's John Cena!
There won't be any John Cena here tonight, folks.
Yeah. Yes, it's me. It's Wimplo or 86, or as you know, as Daniel. Or if you're hearing this in Japan, it's Kiyoshi. Man, that's a lot of names. Too many names.
You got three faces, dude. Like, how do you flip them just in time when you meet people?
I ask myself the same question every day.
All right, so since we're on the second show, have you gotten acclimated to be getting called Daniel, Wimplo86, or do you prefer Kiyoshi from now on? Because I got to get used to whatever title you want to bear from now on.
Well, since we're on the internet.
Yes.
That's a good question. Just call me Daniel for now.
Okay. All right, Daniel. All right. So today's topic, as previously mentioned in the ending of the last episode, we're going to talk about Shin Gojira. And no, I'm not talking about the thing in your leg that hurts when it gets kicked. No, I'm talking about Shin Gojira in Japan, which I believe roughly translate to New Godzilla. Am I right?
Oh, that's what the shin comes from. Yes,
exactly.
Shin Gojira.
Yes, and not the part of the leg that
true
hurts.
Godzilla.
Yes. All right. So for those of you who are listening to this show and they're like, "Whoa, wait a minute! There's a new Godzilla film?" Yes, that's right. You are hearing this correctly. There is a new Godzilla film, but it's the Japanese Godzilla, which some call the real Godzilla. So, before we go on into the discussion, I want to make a little disclaimer that all the information that has been gathered comes from sources such as entertainment news, to fan sites and forums of people who says they have credible sources that are feeding them this information. So it's safe to say that this discussion is, for the most part, purely speculation and is nothing of a confirmation until we actually see the movie, because Toho is really, really good at keeping their lips tight in regards to any kind of information.
And so, you guys know who Toho is, right?
I'm pretty sure that if they haven't figured out who Toho is right now, I honestly don't know where to go from there.
So don't you guys like watch the movie and expect to see Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch? And for some reason, I can't remember the name of those actors and actresses, but
it ain't gonna happen.
I know one of them is the sister of the Olsen twins.
Wonderful. Yes. Okay, so let's first talk about this new Godzilla. So, Shin Gojira. Here is the whole backstory. Now, this new version of Godzilla is actually hinted to be a direct, how do I say, there's a really strong connection between this one and the original version that we've seen in black and white. Basically, it has been said that this one is the reincarnation, if not the regeneration, of the original black and white version of Godzilla. And there are so many cues, hints, that totally gives it away. For example, you do see remnants of the maquette style of the Godzilla 54 implemented on this one, but they went a little bit as far as to add a little bit of that lumpy texture that you also like, Daniel, onto his face. That is
had some serious sunburn. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. So, from what I was told, the bumps that you see on his face is, yeah, it is scars, but at the same time, it's like a little Easter egg that the creators like to implement. It's it makes a reference to what they call a mushroom cloud, which is one of the many sort of styles that Japanese creators tend to make, is, a whole lot of Easter eggs going into the design. So,
and those Godzilla story makers, they love their Symbolism. There we
Symbol.
go.
Yes, exactly. Symbolism.
Yeah, they love their symbolism.
Oh, they absolutely do. And did you get to see one of the posters of the movie? It was that big black footprint of Shin Gojira. Did
The
you see
footprint?
that? Yeah.
No, I only saw the silhouette one.
Okay, so in the footprint, there is a fifth toe, a really small one, but underneath it is like a little fossilized trilobite. And that's also a cue of the very first film, because when they were looking through the remains that Godzilla has left, they found a dead trilobite on the scene.
Yes, in the original movie.
Exactly. So therefore, we got a new Godzilla who's take it for what it is. He might have been the bones that we've seen in the ending of the first movie that has regenerated a new body, or he could have been a reincarnation. Either
And
way,
those bones get turned into Kiryu.
yeah.
Right, wrong movie.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. Hey.
Do you think this is another reboot of the series?
You know, I will get into that later, but if you were to ask me, I think it is a sequel to the first one. So,
interesting.
which brings to mind the trailer. Daniel, you've seen it. What did you think of it?
The first trailer?
Oh yeah.
I'm glad you asked, Aaron, because actually I did enjoy it. However, I cannot shake the feeling that all this trailer did was make me feel like I want more.
But that's what trailers do. They want you to have.
Oh yes, yes. But however, I was not. I'll be truth with you. I was not satisfied when I watched the trailer. I was hoping to see a little bit more of Godzilla in action, but all it showed him was just walking around, scaring people. And then there's that scary. I did like the touch of how it was. There was no dialogue and there was no sound effects. It was just pure music, and it was that very dramatic, very kind of dark setting type of music, and I really enjoyed that. I like how the visuals were fantastic. I love the cinematography of how you see the perspective of the people that are underneath his tail.
Oh, right. Yeah, the whoosh of that tail is something.
Great shot. And also, I noticed that how this film looks like it's way... they're moving away from of course, the campy Showa era, and even the fun, action-driven millennial era. It looks like they're going back to that darker Heisei era, when it's like the film looks more grainy. It's very foggy. If you look in the background, it's not a sunny day.
Right.
It's like in the millennial movies.
There's always an overcast.
It's a very foggy and stuff, and then when they show that. Far view of the city and Godzilla in it. Oh man, that's a beautiful shot. They say that he's bigger than the legendary form, which is currently the biggest form.
Yes, so they actually towered over the American Godzilla by a couple of meters. So I guess that's their way of saying, "Hey, you guys are great, but we can make it better."
Yeah, it's a bit bigger. Gotta make him bigger. We can't let the Americans get it.
Exactly. So even though it left you wanting more, did that necessarily mean that you'll absolutely not like the film, or did it like ruin your mood of wanting to go see it?
Oh, absolutely not. It makes me more excited about the movie. So I'm not really saying it's a bad thing or not. Just out of judging the trailer itself, I kind of wanted a little bit more. However, I did enjoy like the mood that they had targeted, like how it shows little things such as like when they showed the destruction that it's causing, of how the people panicking and how the people are, how the government is deciding how to respond to it. And then if you remember that one scene in the trailer where, I don't know if it's like some sort of political figure is giving a speech, and then you see like a woman standing next to him doing sign language.
Yeah, she's doing sign language.
As something that's like simple as that, it gave like a realism to it. Like,
it was
this
like
situation is so bad, we cannot leave out the death out of this situation.
Yeah, so they call in like the UN. It's like they're having a UN press conference, and somebody is like trying to translate this situation into all langues.
And it's like that's how grim the situation is, and I really like that little touch. However, the parts of the trailer that gets me a little worried is just how I know Toho released a little thing where like this is the biggest ensemble cast with the human characters. I'm like, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, because if there's too many, that means you're going to take focus away from Godzilla and more towards the humans. And then
Truth.
if there's there always has to be that balance where you give both sides equal or equal amount of importance when it comes to the story. However, if the humans have too much of that, that's what makes the Godzilla movie not as enjoyable as it could be.
Yeah, although Japan has their own different style of cinematography, and in the Japanese market, it's very important of getting A-list actors in there. But truth be told, people, in America, we don't really care that much about the actors. We just want the monster. not to be rude. By that I mean we do acknowledge the really cool folks that we've seen from the past, like Akira shoot, I forgot his name. I'm so sorry, everyone. He was the guy who was on Godzilla Final Wars all the way down to the very first Godzilla. It was Akira Takerada, I believe. Correct us, I might add. Those kind of stuff, we really do think it's cool. Like everyone from the Heisei, Millennium, or even the Showa stuff, we do pay attention to certain actors, especially the recurring ones that come by and they may play a different role, but they're still in there. We completely admire that. But not to sound ignorant, this is an ignorant statement coming from the minds of Americans, mind you. But if this were to be shown in America, most, if not all, of the audiences would not even get a clue to how big this A-list actor is. We just see an actor portraying a character and doing a good job at it.
Yeah, be honest, people out there. What other Japanese-born actors do you guys know besides Ken Watanabe?
Oh, shoot! You took away my answer.
Others.
Hey, Sho Kosugi, the guy who got famous for playing ninjas in American films.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
But would you guys notice that in American movies, okay, Aaron,
yes.
sorry to go a little bit off
off
topic, but this kind of has to do with everything. But
yeah,
how the complaint recently about the whole Hollywood whitewashing everything, right?
Oh, yes.
So, one example is that for the movie called Ghost in the Shell, which is based off of an anime, the main character is Japanese. I mean, her name is in Japanese, Makoto. But they're casting her with Scarlett Johansson, who is obviously has no Asian whatsoever, right?
She's Black Widow.
Right, Black Widow. But and then not even with that, in a smaller scale, a lot of times in Hollywood movies with Japanese characters, they always cast either a Chinese or a Korean actor or actress in a lot of situations.
Yeah, to make it bankable.
Yes.
So there's Asian washing even happening in Japan, ladies and gentlemen.
So what do you think about that?
The thing that I look at it is Japan has their own way of doing business. Definitely. If there is the thing about the movie industry is that most, if not half of the time, they got to speak in terms of numbers. Basically, when you have a very popular person, that person can pretty much guarantee ticket sales at about the break-even point, or maybe even more. So naturally, out of I wouldn't necessarily call it desperation, but as to increase the potential of selling out a movie, they resort to grabbing people who they think are popular enough to draw in the crowds. And so I could understand from a business perspective why such measures would go through it in Japan and even America.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, if we want to talk about equality, how do you know that someone who is not as popular as an A-list actor is horrible if you haven't even give him or her a shot? There's always this one movie that makes a star a breakthrough star. And all it takes is just one opportunity for them to prove themselves, and all of a sudden, bam! They're up there. But if only there was an easier way for newcomers to actually come on board and prove themselves and not necessarily have to go as far as, reaching a one-sided decision against their favor.
Exactly. In fact, I totally agree with you with that, and also because in the end, it's a business decision, right? Whatever's going to make the most money. And unfortunately, when it comes to big budget movies, the producers want to take what is the least amount of risk. So they will hire an actor who will, even if they perform bad, they're still going to bring in the money because people are going to watch it no matter what, because they just want to see that actor or actress.
Which is a funny irony, because sometimes bad movies kill the credibility of popular actors and actresses. So
sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yes.
Yes. Oh, okay. So,
but anyways, more on that on future episodes.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to the movie details of Shin Gojira. So, like as stated before, this one is gonna be a sequel to the Godzilla 1954 movie, and this one is promised to be like a reincarnation or the resurgence of Godzilla. But they say that this one may have 3 possible forms, because as he emerges, he's still in the process of transforming due to the radiation and his regeneration abilities. So
wait a minute, you're saying in this movie he's gonna digivolve?
Yes, he will digivolve. Because one source claims that, or has stated that there will be 3 different forms throughout the whole movie. Now, and the ones that we've seen on the poster, there's no saying whether it's the first form, second form, or even the final form. But I can say that from the maquette that I have seen that was been released from Toho in really big fan events, it does show what we've talked about, the Godzilla that's scarred up. If you look at the tail, there's bones of his tail sticking out through the flesh, and at the end, which is the coolest part of the detail, because I love looking at subtleties, the tail seems to be flesh combined, fused with a whole bunch of skeletal remains that obviously aren't his. You're like, wait a minute, whose bones are those? Like, is that human waste? Is that marine life waste? It's like all this molten coral or whatever species was beneath the surface of the ocean fused with his fleshy properties and created this.
This is starting to sound very familiar. It sounds like you're talking about Destroyer right here.
It could be, my friend. It could be. Oh my goodness.
Well, as long as he doesn't transform into multiple crab creatures or anything like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there will be different forms, but unfortunately this Godzilla will be solo. It's gonna be similar to how we've seen in the 1984 version, The Return of Godzilla, when they just brought back Godzilla, just one solo row, and it's him terrorizing Japan, and the army does their very best to stop him. Okay. And aside from that, like you've mentioned before, Daniel, that Japan likes to do a lot of what's the term called? Homages, or a lot of
symbolism.
Symbolism. They are taking on symbolism of different events in different messages. Like they want to take on the earthquake, tsunami events that have happened in Japan, down to September 11 and the Fukushima nuclear crisis. There will be some kind of subtle message that portrays them or let alone address them.
Yeah, I mean that's how Godzilla was created in the first place.
Yes, the very first Godzilla was a message about the dangers of H-bomb testing and atomic bombs in general. So Godzilla was a metaphor to the damages he or the bomb has caused to innocent people. That's why you see people all burnt up, all scarred up. Some is contaminated with radiation. That was that.
Yeah. That's why they linger on those scenes.
That's right.
Hey,
that's right.
Hey, remember this? Remember this? Too soon?
Too soon?
I could only imagine the critics at that time.
Yeah. So, which brings to mind, when is the release date? This movie will come out in Japan around July 29. And Daniel,
I'll be there.
Yes. Do me a favor. Charge up your phone up to high power find your seat, sit down, and then could you turn the camera on and probably record the whole movie as you watch it?
Aaron,
Yes.
we're on the air. You cannot ask me to do.
Yeah. Just kidding. Just kidding.
No.
Of course,
But,
everyone knows
actually-
you're just joking.
Actually, a little information on that. So, like in Japan, copyright laws is extremely strict. I believe in more so than America.
Yeah.
In fact, it's kind of funny in the beginning of the movie, before the movie starts, they do a little promo where it shows this camera guy. Well, a camera with, a human with a camera head, and he is
GoPro. I like that.
So what he does, he turns himself on, and then the red light turns on, the recording light, and then he's recording. So his face is recording the movie that he's watching, and then there's a couple of other people and behind him that are like, one is a popcorn head and the other is a soft drink head, and they get angry, and then they start pointing at him, and then this policeman who has the siren head. Or whatever, the police light, and then he ends up chasing down the camera guy. And then they keep saying, "No more, no more." So in other words, it's a promotion to say, do not record the movie, or else there will be consequences.
Right. Of course. So the date
I find
has...
that promo very hilarious.
Oh yes, absolutely. So the date has been set in Japan. America, on the other hand, it's been confirmed that there won't be anything. Now, the last time Daniel and I spoke, I did mention, it wasn't on the podcast, by the way, but off camera, I did mention to Daniel that, this company called New World Cinemas, this smaller company, nobody has ever heard of them, has announced on their Facebook page that they're doing their very best to get Shin Gojira distributed through all of the major movie distributors, something like to that effect. But just a couple of days ago, they eliminated all of the statements that they've said, and in an official statement, they said, "Hey, we never implied that we were trying to distribute the movie for you. We're just speaking your voices in hopes that some other distributor will pick up on these, on our words, and then go ahead and do the transaction instead of us, because we're just fans." Which is funny because it's been documented and posted on fan sites. You could clearly see the old post that it was implied that they were trying to get it, but turns out they never made a deal with Toho at all. Yeah, so I'm not sure how that's going. So
that's a shame.
Who knows? Maybe it might come out on Blu-ray or DVD, but
I'm sure, they'll at least do that.
Yeah, but that won't come out until the year 2017, which means I will go on a Japanese online site somewhere, and then I'll just shop for a DVD or Blu-ray that's compatible with what I got. Oh boy.
Did Final Wars ever came to a U.S. theater?
It has not. There were some special screenings, but they were mostly reserved for small, maybe film events, but they were definitely brought back for Godzilla-related events. But it did just make its way to DVD, but that wasn't until a year later. So that brings us to toys, because Toho loves to release toys in conjunction with the movie. Well, the good news, folks, is that Bandai...
Gotta make their money.
Yes, so the good news is Bandai, of course, is on board like how they've normally been in the past. There will be a movie Monster Series version of Shin Gojira. This one will be released as a vinyl toy in the 6-inch scaling. And it will come out in July of 2015. But they're kicking their game up a notch by saying, okay, we have the 6-inch, but we're going to release a bigger scale called the Kaijuo series, which is going to come out somewhere around August of 2016, but this one will be in the 8-inch scale. I'm not sure if that means they'll just take the same design, scale it up, and recast it. I can only hope not, but we'll see when I actually get those in. There are some Bandai little high-grade toys. Daniel, you remember they're the small little itty-bitty ones, under 3 inches tall, and you have them displayed at your offices. There will be a new set coming out. One will be the Shin Gojira, as well as the Bio Goji, that's Godzilla 1989, and the original Godzilla 1954. And they will be sold as a set, or maybe you can go to one of those gashapon machines and try to earn one the other way.
Or you can stop by my office at my workplace.
Probably,
See it
yes,
on my
yes.
desk.
Absolutely. And good news, here's some more good news, actually. It has just been teased earlier today by Tamashii Nations themselves that they are indeed making a Shin Gojira figure, and not only that, they posted one promo pic of their prototype posed in the same way as the movie poster. So that one will, there's not that much details that's explained. It could be in the 6-inch or maybe in the 8-inch. I'm not sure. But some sources are claiming that that will come out in November of 2016. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Nice.
Yes.
Actually, I noticed that with toys, whenever they release toys for the upcoming movies, I noticed that it becomes also a source of spoilers. So like when
in
the
a way.
legendary Godzilla was coming out, we had no idea what the Mutos would look like until they released the toys, and then so is that what they're going to look like for the movie? And turns out, yes.
Oh yeah, I remember far back as Godzilla Final Wars when I was in a Yahoo group and the movie was in production. I was always wondering what will the new monsters look like, and then sure enough, the promos of the final castings of Anguirus to Gigan popped up, and I said, "Oh, that's it."
Confirmed.
Yeah, it's confirmed.
They're
my
in the
goodness.
movie, possibly.
Yes.
So,
All right.
Yeah, keep an eye out if just in case if they do a surprise monster.
Yes.
Who
And
knows?
are you going to be hunting out for at least the high grades on this one?
Maybe window shop for them.
Yeah. Oh, well, window shop for me. I may keep in contact with you later.
I'll try to take a picture when I find one.
All right, cool, awesome. All right, so we're going to move on to our weekly recap. Now, Daniel, was there anything cool that happened to you this past week?
Yes, actually. Unfortunately, it's not Godzilla related, but
Doesn't have to be.
I did very recently Transformers Earth Wars or Transformers Earth War. I can't do it. Sorry. Anyways, the
Are you trying to
Transformers
do it like
Earth
Optimus
Wars.
Prime? Transformers Earth Wars.
Wars.
I'm
Autobots
horrible.
roll out.
I'm so
But
sorry, Mr.
anyways,
Peter
sorry.
Cullen.
I'm sorry, audience. That was a horrible Peter Cullen expression. But
And I'm worse.
yeah. But anyways, yeah, Transformers Earth Wars has been released on the iPhone and the Android app store. So go ahead and download that. That game is really fun. It's free to download. So the reason how I was able to find out about that game was one of my favorite YouTubers, John 3.0, who is also a professional voice actor.
Oh, yes, big shout out to him.
He's a huge Transformers fan.
Oh,
So when
and
I
is
saw
he
that,
ever.
yes, and then he even was invited to play their beta version while the game was under develop. So whenever he did that, he would to make the video more funny, he would do voice impressions on one of the Transformer characters, and then he would stay in character as he plays the video game, which I find that hilarious. Like for
Yes.
example, he would be voicing Starscream, and while he's playing the game, he will be mocking Megatron constantly.
If I were a leader.
Yeah, exactly. And whenever like Megatron would say something in the game, he'd be, "Oh, shut up, Megatron."
Yeah.
So anyways, but yeah, so and then he would show the gameplay footages, and then and it's very fun. So the gameplay is basically those of you who are familiar with tower defense video games such as like Clash of Clans, and any of those hundreds of other games that are similar built. So basically, the object of the game is to build up your base, and then also to build up your armies to attack the bases of your opponents. Now, with this game in Transformers, they do something very unique. Well, instead of building a huge army, you are collecting the characters of whatever faction you've chosen. So, of course, the Autobots or the Decepticons. But the one thing is to keep in mind is once you choose a side, you're stuck with it. It's locked to your account, so you cannot switch sides unless you restart your entire progress.
So initially, do you start off with Optimus or Megatron, depending which one you go with?
Actually, no, you have to get them by playing the campaign. So
I'm sorry, so you as a mortal have to find the characters yourself.
Pretty much. But this is what makes it really fun. So so of course, me being a Decepticon fan, I chose the Decepticons.
Because they got
You
cooler
start
stuff.
off, yes, you start off with Starscream and with Bludgeon.
Okay.
Bludgeon is not in the cartoon, those of you who are listening, but he is one of the pretenders. He's a really cool design as he transforms into a tank in his robot form. He looks like a robot skeleton samurai.
Yes.
So I really like that design. So and then you start off with these two characters, and then you build your base. It goes through a tutorial, and then you play the first campaign, which is basically just teaching you how to play the game. And then at the very end of that level, you play a mission where then you unlock Megatron. We're in this that's how they teach you how to get more characters. And as you progress through the game, you're awarded these crystals by doing achievements, or by you can buy it. It has microtransaction, so that those of you who are have money to burn, you can do that. And then you use these crystals to power up the space bridge. And then once the space bridge is powered up, it'll give you a random character.
You know,
So it's basically So basically, you build up your army by collecting the characters, and it's really cool because what keeps it unique is that you don't know who you're going to get.
truth be told, if you're playing the game as Starscream, why would you ever want to release Megatron when you got a good gang thing going on around you?
Exactly right. But of course, like in the show, like Starscream knows that he he needs Megatron if he's around.
Oh yeah, that's true, because Shockwave nor Soundwave really listens to him that much.
No one else likes him anyway. So, but anyways, So and that's how you build your characters, and then build up your team. In fact, and then as you progress through the game, you be able to be able to unlock more space on your attack squad, so you can put more characters and stuff like that. And then you also have to focus on designing your base, which is so that whenever you are attacked, you won't lose your resources and also your points system and all that.
Wow.
So and then what a nice touch on this game is that they actually got the original voice actors, two of them, Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime and some of the Autobots, and Frank Welker, the voice of Megatron, and a bunch of the other Decepticons. So that is a huge, awesome achievement that they've done. And this game is made by the fans, and it's made for fans. And then they kept it accurate. The characters are beautifully designed. When they transform, it actually looks like a toy that is transforming in front of you. The graphics are pretty amazing when it for an app game.
And it's not an official Transformers game until you can actually get someone who has voiced the original characters, basically.
Exactly, and it's the real voice actors. So,
awesome.
Unfortunately, they are also the only characters that talk. Everyone else is just a little,
little
what do you call
henchman,
that?
probably.
Just like text appearing on the screen.
Oh, I see. They do their ventriloquist thing going on. Yet you're only reading quote bubbles.
Yeah, pretty much. I think just a few of the characters that Frank Welker actually voices. I think when I played through the Decepticons, I only heard Megatron's voice, and I believe I heard Shockwave's voice in a couple scenes, but that's about it.
Unbelievable. Oh, well, let's see. For me, I've actually arrived late to the Dragon Ball Super Party, but over the past week, I finally watched my first episode, and since then, I've been binge watching all the way up to, I think it's up to 45 by now.
Oh, wow, you're way ahead, way past me.
Hey, I gotta admit, kudos, that is a pretty dang good show, because it has a really nice balance of action with a comedy relief, is what I like to call it.
Have you watched the movies yet?
I did watch Dragon Ball.
The movies that it was based off of.
Yes. Well, only one of them. I did watch Battle of the Gods, but I did not watch Resurrection F. But after watching Dragon Ball Super, I feel like I should go back and rewatch it. But
I know that they did change a few aspects, but I do recommend watching it, especially as a Dragon Ball Z fan.
Sweet.
they both had their strengths and weaknesses. The Battle of the Gods was good as story-wise. Although the action, you can argue if it was enough or not. But for me personally, I just wish it was a little bit more. I wish the fight was that started a little sooner.
You do
by the
realize,
time they fought, it's like the movie was
Yeah.
almost over by then. But they made it up for it in Resurrection F, where they
Yeah.
took a little bit of focus off of the story, unfortunately, but there was a lot of action in that one, and every character shines because you see your favorite second tier characters actually beating up
Try to
Frieza's
do
men
something,
and all that. Yeah, there you see, even Krillin and even Master Roshi of all people.
Oh, yes.
Had a moment of shining.
But Daniel, you do realize that if they were to make the movie action sequence of Dragon Ball Battle of the Gods long, can you imagine how that would translate to Dragon Ball Super? That could drag on to like 10 episodes for just one battle.
That didn't stop them before, right?
Yeah, that's true. All right.
But yeah.
then. Yes. Oh, so now's the time. Sorry, folks, we are out of time, and that wraps up our show. But thank you once again for listening. If you like what you saw, please leave feedback, comments, rates. Leave all the good stuff. And if you send out bad stuff, we will sulk for a little bit, but we'll take it in stride.
We'll try not to cry.
Yeah, we'll try not to cry. Also, do check out the Rave Corner's main blog. It's at myfavorave.blogspot.com, or check out the Rave Corner on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I'm all over the place. And Daniel, is there another concept you want to take on for the next episode? Anything in mind?
Next concept? Whatever we were talking about earlier before we
We're
started
gonna do
recording.
our very best impression of feeling confused. So we're gonna have a confused off in the next one. That's what we're gonna do. Yes.
Oh man.
You think you can't stutter better than me, my friend? I'll mutter, I'll stutter, I'll slur my words if I have to.
Yeah, and we start sounding like Jeff Goldblum. Like,
Well, at least you got glasses, so you can always adjust him. I got nothing to adjust when I talk.
Oh, by the way, are you looking forward to Independence Day 2? Anyways, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about
time.
that next time. All right, so until then, I am the adorable Asian Aaron, along with the cool, calm, collective, the most impressive office worker you'll ever meet in your workforce, Daniel, the chosen one.
I don't know about that, but yeah. And you can also follow me at Twitter at Wimplo86.
Absolutely. Until then, you all have a good one.
Have a great night. Bye bye.